We have almost finished the implementation of this console class, but there are a few issues in this class that we need to address. But before we do that, let's see how the client can use this class to write colored text on the console. We will copy the code from the old project we would like to compare how easy or difficult it is to use the console class. We don't have to create instance of the console. Instead, we can directly use write or writeLine methods. We will also use these functions to write the text to the console, and we'd like to verify they are not affected by the change in the color. Here we'll use writeLine. We'll comment this code. Let's run. There you go. So this text is being printed in a different color. And when we used cout and printf, they were not affected by the change in the color. And that is what was expected. So you can see it is now very easy to write colored text to the console. The clients do not have to deal with low-level API. And the API that we have provided through the console class is now object-oriented. Now, there are a few things that we need to address in this console class. First of all, we don't want the users to create instance of the console class. This is important because in the constructor, we get the information of the console and we set that information back into the console in the destructor. So obviously, we don't want users to create multiple instances of the class because then it would cause multiple initializations of this console buffer info variable. Now, there are two things we can do here. One is we can make this class a singleton. Then we will have to provide a getInstance method, and users will have to first invoke that getInstance method to use the features of the console class. But in this case, it is not necessary because the methods that we have provided to the users are static. So there is no need for creating instance of the console class. So instead of implementing console as a singleton, let's implement it as a monostate. So for monostate, we will ensure that the clients do not create instance of this class. That's why we will make the constructor private. Now the clients cannot create instances of this class. Instead, they will use the facilities of this class through the static methods. Now we still need the constructor because we are initializing the standard handle and we are also initializing the buffer info. Now if you look in this write method, we are storing the information of the console buffer and we are setting it back at the end of the method. So this is no longer required. So I'm going to remove it. Now we also don't need the destructor where we are setting the buffer information back into the console. So we can remove the destructor and even this is not required. Now let's go back to main. Let's build this. So it works. And we also cannot create instance of the console class. The instance will be created automatically when the application starts. And when it starts, the instance of the console will be created and the constructor will also get invoked. And in the constructor, we are initializing the standard handle. Note that we don't have to release this handle. So this console class is our facade. What are the advantages of using this console class? First of all, we are not directly dependent on the operating system APIs. The console class interacts with those APIs on our behalf. So this way, even if we change the platform, the client code will not change. The only thing we have to do is change the code in the console class and use the APIs of the corresponding operating system. So here, the dependency on the low-level operating system APIs is reduced. So we have achieved loose coupling here. The second thing is, it is now easy for the clients to write colored text on the console because we have provided a simple API. So we have converted the complex interface into a simple interface. And third, we have provided an object-oriented interface to the low-level APIs. Even though some of you might think we are not really using object-oriented interface because we are not creating instance of the class, we are not using inheritance polymorphism. But even then, we have achieved encapsulation. The client is not able to see how console class is internally implemented. So this might not be completely object-oriented, but we have achieved a degree of object-orientedness. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.